Hi guys. I just wanted to pop in here really quick. I know I just released a video and there will be more videos as the usual schedule, like Monday and Wednesdays. But I wanted to pop in really quick because I am doing a 45% off sale on the website. The website is in the description box below, theplotgenie.com. Everything is on sale. Outline templates, concept templates, essential scene guides. I mentioned those three because those are the most popular products on the store or on the site. And I just really wanted to give you a really quick overview of what they are so you guys can jump on the sale and if anything is interesting to you, that you can kind of grab it for a pretty good price. So essential scene guides are basically reader expectation guides or what scenes should be in this type of book, whether it's trope, whether it is genre, right? So if you're like, writing a cozy mystery, what do I need to have in this book? Now, of course, you are more than free to go and read a bunch of cozies, and you will start to see noticeable patterns, especially with those who have gotten a lot of success, right? But if you have read a few, or if you're just like, look, I just need a list. I can't, I don't want to interpret things. I really just I focus better with a list. The scene guides have 22 scenes that should go into your cozy mystery or your romantasy or your mafia. And I picked 22 specifically because when I talk about outlines, usually I kind of defer to 30, right? 30 chapters. And 22 scenes, I mean, as we all know, can either be complete chapters or they can be parts of chapters. It's completely dependent upon, what your outline or what your plot essentially requires. And so I think that 22 scenes is very a solid number to really be able to work with, but also gives you enough room to kind of allow you to, kind of tweak it up a little bit. And by tweak, I mean like add something unique, right? So if you're writing a Beauty and the Beast dark mafia, obviously we're going to expect that, that like she's trying to escape and he winds up saving her life, right? But maybe before then, you can add something before that doesn't necessarily um it's not a required scene, but it's perfect for what your specific plot needs. So if you kind of don't want to spend a lot of time reading or doing a lot of research, these are great things to be like, okay, I'm writing an urban fantasy. This is what I need. I can be inspired by this. I can take it, leave it, take a few, leave a few, whatever you want to do. Outline templates are exactly what it sounds like. I love these. These are probably the most popular, template sort of thing on the site. They come in novel format or novella format. The novels are 30 chapters, novellas are 15 chapters, and essentially they come with three different outlines. Okay. So the first is essentially like the prompt. So it would say chapter one, introduce your heroine, right? The second set of out like the outline for it would be an example based on the prompts, right? So if it said chapter one, introduce your heroine, then your sample would say something like, okay, Skylar lives in the small town of whatever, and she is a barista at this cute cafe. And it would kind of give you something to be like, we see her interacting with customers, and then she breaks up with her boyfriend. So you kind of get a little bit of an example based on the sample. Then you get a completely blank template. So you can write in your own based on the prompt and the example, right? And then the last thing that the outline templates come with, both the novella and novel, is 5 tips on outlining whatever genre or trope it is. So definitely look through them. There's a bunch of different categories. Some are mashups. So if you have arranged marriage and romantasy, that is a specific mashup, right? If you're just kind of like, okay, I'm writing a fake dating, but I also want it to be a sports romance. So I would recommend getting both templates. And then you can sort of see what are the prompts for chapter one in both of them? Are they similar, or what beats do you think I need? And kind of mash them together yourself, right? So those are outline templates. And then the third thing that I personally use a lot are concept templates. So let's say that you're like, okay, I want to start a new pen name. I want to write dark romance. Let me write serial killer, right? Halloween is on my mind, guys. Like I'm ready for it. So but you're like, okay, but then what? I know I want serial killer, then what? The concept templates are really cool because it's essentially like a plug and play of, okay, here is the trope, here is the genre that you want to write, and it asks you almost kind of like a Mad Libs for anyone who like remembers those games, and you essentially plug in based on what you want to write. And it's going to ask you and kind of format into a really quick one or two sentence hook that's going to help. And I'm just gonna pull one up. So bear with me here. Um, just so you can kind of see, because I know that it might not be like, okay, Heather, what are you talking about? So okay, we're gonna do age gap because that's what I love. So essentially, let me just do this. So essentially, the first thing that you're going to get is just the framework, right? And so what it'll say something like protagonist A never expected to fall for protagonist B, not when they're, and then it'll say in parentheses, like age gap dynamic or power role. And love would break every rule. But when, and then parentheses, emotional trigger or shared circumstance forces them into each other's orbit, the line between wrong and irresistible begins to blur. They know better, but knowing has nothing to do with wanting. And so after that framework, it specifically tells you what variables to fill in. Okay, protagonist A, who is that? It's usually the younger, emotionally open or impulsive character. Then protagonist B, the older, more guarded, often in a position of power or responsibility character. Then what is the age gap dynamic or power role? This could be mentor student, boss intern, brother's best friend, guardian, professor, clients, etc. It'll give you examples like that. Then you have, when it said emotional trigger or shared circumstances. So essentially, what forces the intimacy? Is it forced proximity? Is it emotional confession? Is it protection, grief, mentorship, that sort of thing, right? So it's trying to spark your in like intrigue, like, oh, that sounds fun. Like I want to write about that. And then it'll give you two different examples, right? So based on that framework. And sometimes I'll write it exactly like that. Sometimes I'll kind of throw it around just so you can kind of see the different examples. So example one, and remember we're talking about age gap. Age gap. So this would be for dark romance. She's 19, off limits and promised to someone else. He's 36, ruthless, and the one sent to keep her safe. He knows she's too young, too innocent, too forbidden, but when danger closes in, the only thing more dangerous than protecting her is wanting her, right? So there's that. And then you have example two, professor student. As a grad student, Paige never planned to develop feelings for the cold, brilliant professor who barely remembers her name. But when she's assigned to his research team, every late night lab session chips away at the walls between them. So that kind of plays on that framework, right? Where it's almost kind of plug and play. And then you have, he's her superior, twice her age and completely off limits. So why does he look at her like she's already his, right? I want to write that, right? Okay, so anyway, so then the next thing you're going to get are brainstorm questions, okay? So for example, I list about 5 questions, and this is supposed to inspire you and really kind of hone and shape what you actually want to write. So if you remember when we first started the concept templates, you just knew you wanted to write age gap. But now we're going deeper to kind of like really figure out what your story is going to be about. So, number one, what role or responsibility makes their age gap feel taboo or complicated? Number two, what emotional need or connection bridges the gap between them? Number three, who's fighting the attraction and why are they failing? Number four, what are the personal or professional consequences of falling for each other? And number five, what proves their connection is real, even if it's risky? And then after that, you have 5 tips on how to really shape your concept. And for example, and it'll go into more detail, but essentially, like lead with the power imbalance, right? This is why we're talking about age gap. Number 2, make the emotional pull undeniable, et cetera, et cetera. So that is what you get with the concept templates. And like I said, I really love these because you start with just a random, like, I want to write romantasy. I want to write fae romance. And then it goes deeper. So it's like you plug and play just kind of like a quick, like a hook, like a 1 to 2 sentence hook of what really works for your chosen genre or trope. But then it's going to force you to go deeper. You're going to see examples that might inspire something or might be like, no, thank you. That's not in my romantasy, right? And then it's going to ask you questions, like 5 questions that's really going to force you to be like, okay, what kind of romantasy am I writing? And then you're going to get tips on what's important and what to focus on. And so, I really like stuff like that. Like, I think it's really inspiring, and I really hope that you enjoy that too. So, anyway, this is a 45% off sale. It is today, it is tomorrow, and that is it. And the coupon code is 2 days. Let me just verify this really quick. Um, uh, Yeah, the number 2 and then days, DAYS, all capital. I will put it in the description below. And yeah, I mean, I hope you enjoy it. I hope you grab stuff that you need at a really good discount. And the whole store is on sale, but I just wanted to focus on those specific things because those are kind of the more popular items, unless you're looking for actually pre-made, complete outlines that you just want to be like, okay, I want to grab that and be able to write and take off, and you don't have to do any thinking. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop them below. Thank you again, and I hope you enjoy the Wednesday's video, and I hope you enjoyed the earlier one from today. All right, take care. Bye.